What up, bitches?
Yep. Happy 420.
420.
Yep. Happy 420, everybody. Sorry for the delay, but welcome to the Beantown Beatdown. Matthew Verse.
Gabe Shamus.
Yep. Got some Taco Bell.
Yeah, best way to celebrate 420.
Yep.
And we are out here, as is tradition, even though it's not the best day for it. But
yeah, I think we picked the wrong day to do it outside.
Well, it is our 420 tradition. Oh. Cheers and cheers.
This is my my last day of sobriety for Lent.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, so
gonna be celebrating tomorrow night.
Yeah, tomorrow I got a chocolate bunny and I got me some hard cider. So definitely looking forward to tomorrow.
Indeed.
All right, let's get into it. Holly Holm has a title shot against Claudia Gadelha in July at UFC. Co-main eventing with John Jones's fight. So the question is, if Holly Holmes loses this fight, will she be? Will this be her last title shot? Gabe, want to start with you? What do you think?
Well, yeah, obviously she propelled to fame after taking the title from Rousey, and it's like we've talked about this before. It's not just what you've done; it's what you continue to do, or as you put it, what you've done for me lately.
Yep.
So, so yeah, you got to keep at it, and if you have to be. Once you are the man, you got, or in this case the woman, you got to be the woman who beats the woman. And so yeah, she better do it, or I think it will be the beginning of the end for her. Obviously, I do, even though I don't like what she did to Ronda, I do kind of wish it would be different. I kind of wish it would be different, but that actually is how it is. And as far as I'm concerned, yeah, I don't really care as much about her if she loses this.
Well, after I do care. Unlike you, because as I mentioned before, Holly Holmes is on the Mount Rushmore of great strikers. I mean, if there was a Mount Rushmore of strikers in MMA, there's Lyoto Machida, there's Anderson Silva, Kung Lee. I gotta put Benson Henderson on there as well, and of course Holly Holmes. So, but I do agree with you on the fact that should Holly Holm lose this fight, it will be her last title shot, and I think it could be the beginning of the end of her UFC career. I mean, because once again, this isn't what you've done in the past. This is what have you done lately. And she's gotten 2 title shot opportunities and failed at both of them since then. Right. So now, going through the divorce, she just got divorced, and of course, I mean, she's still coming back strong, but she needs to win this fight. She needs to take the title. Otherwise, her career could be over. Will she be in the Hall of Fame? Yes, but there's going to be a question mark. There's always going to be a question of, does she deserve to be in the Hall of Fame? Right. Should she lose this fight?
Right. Indeed. That's basically how it goes. Better or worse, that's freaking how it goes.
Exactly. And also, since WrestleMania, Ronda Rousey, she's taking time off from WWE. Her and Travis Brown are working on having a baby.
Good luck to them.
Yep. And also, she injured her hand during WrestleMania.
Oh, really?
Yeah, during the match at WrestleMania. So getting some time off to heal, and then now she's also taking time to have a baby. So it's gonna be a while before we see her again. I think she might make a cameo there or two, but as far as getting back in the ring, it's gonna be a while before we actually see her back in the ring wrestling.
Well, for the next generation, you got to do what you got to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Don't chew. I was gonna say don't chew with your mouth full. No, chew with your mouth full and don't talk with your mouth full.
Hey, this is Plain Uncle TV.
It is.
Unscripted, uncensored,
And unapologetic.
So,
That's right, folks. Indeed. And being the 420 episode, we just want to shout out to our fans again, and yeah, say there's a long-standing tradition with us, isn't it, Matt?
Absolutely.
I think since the beginning of the show, which has been what, 4 years?
Yeah, we do an episode of 420. I didn't do it last year, but I wanted to do one this year, even though I'm not doing pot. I'm done with the weed, but I still wanted to get some food for my boy here, for the munchies.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Yeah, he doesn't get to have as much fun as I do, but time for a hard candy. These are difficult to open, thankfully. I do agree with the childproofing and all that. And yep. And anyone who questions my audacity to eat something on air, well, it is illegal in this state. So.
Yeah, it's,
send your complaints to nowhere. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, I mean, it's still hard to believe it's illegal in the state of New York.
Yeah, that is very hard to believe, actually. I mean, you'd think they probably already have a market growing for when it is legalized. Speaking of which, some states, I was going to bring in some news. Here's their 420 headlines. In Colorado, they are actually going, Carl's Jr. today is one day only, is actually premiering a, believe it or not, a pot-infused burger.
The pot-infused burger?
CBD, which is the medical component, but yes, CBD, medical component of marijuana, infused in their burgers in Denver today.
I really picked a bad time to stop doing that.
Clearly you did. That's what I've been telling him. But yeah, I mean, so it's an interesting thing. The comments, that I saw in the article were not too. Some of them were definitely not too happy about it. But I say as long as you do your due diligence to keep it away from children, then that's actually all it is. I mean, we are getting to a point in America where it's like we got to have the conversation, and it's a lot better for society if we find a way to legalize it than continue going through this drug war.
Absolutely, you said it best right there, man.
Yeah, it's actually very hard to open, so it actually is. I can attest this is childproof.
Yeah, you finally got it open right there.
I know. So, hard candy time. Anyway, that's our 420 moment.
Yep, that's the 420 moment. First, tonight we got two boxing matches tonight. One's on pay-per-view and one's on free TV. It's on Fox Sports 1. Yep, the Fox Sports 1 Premier Boxing Champions, Danny Garcia versus Adrian Granados, however you pronounce his name.
Okay.
Big fight for Danny Garcia to get him back in title contention. Of course, I'm going with Danny Garcia on this one. Because he really needs to have a good victory, especially coming off losing to Sean Porter. And Danny the welterweight division right now is stacked. I mean, you got the WBO welterweight champion Terrence Crawford, who's fighting Amir Khan on pay-per-view tonight, which I'll talk about later. You got the WBC champion Sean Porter. You got the WBA champion Keith Thurman, IBF champion Errol Spence.
Right.
And then, of course, you got the Super WBA champion. Don't ask how there are two WBA champions. It's all confusing. Manny Pacquiao. And of course, on top of that, there's always the rumor of Mayweather coming back. The welterweight division is stacked right now.
Right.
It's a real stacked division. And, of course, Danny Garcia isn't still in the conversation, but to keep his name in the conversation, he's got to get a big win tonight.
That's a very good point. Very good point. So, yeah, when you say the welterweight stack, do you mean that it's almost as like ubiquitous as like the middleweights in the 80s?
Well, yeah. I mean, the welterweight division was big in the 80s as well. You know, in the 80s, you know, welterweight division, we had, you know, Duran moved up from lightweight to welterweight.
Right.
You know, Sugar Ray Leonard, WBC welterweight champion. Tommy Hearns, welterweight, WBA welterweight champion.
Right. But you basically said that the 80s was kind of like the decade of the middleweights, or at least the little guys.
Yeah, the little guys. So the decade of the welterweights and the middleweights and the lightweights.
Right.
You know, and of course, let's not forget the 90s. You know, the 90s we had that was big for the welterweights. More so, that was more so in the mid to late 90s. You know, we had De La Hoya, we had Trinidad, Duran, Corte, Terry Norris, Pernell Whitaker. You know, we had some good welterweights around that time.
Indeed, yeah.
So, and right now, it is stacked. And, you know, the level of competition is fierce. It's, you know, I mean, it's like one fight could get to a title shot. And right now, you know, we got all these dream matches that people want to see happen.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going to happen towards the end. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen with Manny Pacquiao. But, I mean, who knows? I mean, Amir Khan, should he beat Terrence Crawford, I mean, he could be next up in line to fight Pacquiao or any of the other guys. So it's hard it's hard right now.
Indeed. Yep. Well, we'll see. We'll see how it shakes out.
Exactly. And of course, as I mentioned, Terrence Crawford taking on Amir Khan. That's going to be on pay-per-view, ESPN pay-per-view.
Nice. Yep.
That will be live at Madison Square Garden. And
bring it back to the home.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, Terrence Crawford has fought in Madison Square Garden before.
Right.
And, you know, Terrence Crawford is undefeated. And a lot of people are even claiming, even though he's been a champion at lightweight, at super lightweight, and welterweight, but he still hasn't fought enough big names.
No.
And at the welterweight division, they really want him to fight the big names. They want him to fight the Errol Spence, the Keith Thurmans, the Manny Pacquiaos, the Sean Porters.
But, I mean, that goes back to what we were just saying of being the man who beats the man. I mean, you know, you can have the title, but I think you've talked about this. You know, you also want to if in order to like be one of the greats, you have to feel like you've earned the title.
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't that right?
Well, it's not so much the title, but the thing is, what's really separating it is, you know, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, Terrence Crawford. Crawford is over at Top Rank, which is owned by Bob Arum, and Premier Boxing Champions, which is owned by Al Heyman. And he owns all the other fighters, the champions I just mentioned.
Right.
So now it's difficult for the two promoters to get together, and it really shouldn't be. It should be a matter of you know, coming together and giving the fans what they want. It doesn't always happen, but we've seen it happen before. We know what happens when promoters and television networks come together and give the fight fans what they want.
Exactly.
And should Crawford get past Amir Khan, and I believe so in my heart, I believe Terrence Crawford is going to beat Amir Khan. Amir Khan, former world champion, good fighter, but you know, the fight with Canelo Alvarez, you know, really took him out. You know, and of course, losing to Manny Pacquiao as well. I got, you know, I think Terrence Crawford, I think he's going to get him out of there in 7 rounds. But I think, you know, should Terrence Crawford get past Amir Khan, you know, Terrence Crawford needs to fight the big names, you know, and Bob Arum needs to stop all the bullshit, and let's get the big names, you know, let's get Thurman, let's get Spencer, let's get Porter, let's get Pacquiao, and if Mayweather is not busy, let's get him, and or let's get Danny Garcia.
Right, exactly. Yeah, we gotta get the big names in there. And we've talked before. You really think Mayweather's coming back?
I don't know. It depends on what side of the bed he gets up in the morning.
Right, exactly. Which side do you comb your hair on? Whatever. All right. So moving on. All right. After you take a bite.
All right.
Little radio advice. Don't leave them with dead air. You've heard that before, right?
Yeah, but I'm sure they enjoy me eating. You know, they're probably watching this right now, probably going like, "Oh man, I want to eat some Taco Bell now." Man, these dudes are making me hungry.
Exactly. Sorry, folks. Sorry, not sorry. Actually.
Yeah. Also, I wanted to talk about you know, like so, I want to elaborate more on something that I talked
before.
Yeah, that I said before. Like a couple of weeks ago, we talked about the whole you know, when we had our friend Prema on here. Hey Prema, what's up? And Becky.
Yep.
You know, we talked about how like you know, not everyone gets a job for life. You know, the whole you know, sometimes you don't always get a gold watch.
Mm-hmm. Which, for those that didn't watch the other episode, that means the prize that you used to get for all your years of service when you leave your company.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, and the thing is, it's you know, I don't want to sound old or sound like this is like a sense of entitlement, but it is, in a way, it is somewhat of a sense of entitlement. I mean, like, some people get jobs for life and some people don't. Mm-hmm. And you know, I mean, in reality, it's really hard to tell like who should get a job for life and who shouldn't. Mm-hmm. But not everybody's owed that job for life. Like, for example, like
I was gonna say, it should be based on your skill, though, too. I mean, it should be based on your skill, the merit that you bring to the table. That's the other thing, though, right?
Exactly. Like, here's another example. Like Saturday Night Live. Mm-hmm. You know, Saturday Night Live has been around since like what, 76, 77?
Yeah, 76, I'm almost sure.
Yeah, 76, okay? You know, Buscemi, Aykroyd, Murray, Chase, Martin,
Radner,
yeah, Radner, all the other comedians throughout the years who've been on Saturday Night Live. You know, it's like whenever, they had their dark periods in the 80s, you know, and then they came back in the 90s, but you ever notice how like whenever someone leaves or someone important leaves, Saturday Night Live is still around? Mm-hmm. And you know why? It's because they're a well-oiled machine.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You know, they are it's a machine. You know, mm-hmm. it means that, you know, there's always someone there to take their place. You know, mm-hmm. And of course there's like
take up the mantle, as it were.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you know, also
I was gonna say it's not just the thermite machine. I was gonna say it's actually that, you know, the new guard takes up the mantle that the old guard left for them, you know what I mean, and runs with it, still finds something new and fresh about it.
Yeah, exactly. You know, there's always a new segment, new characters, mm-hmm. And also there's also new, you know, actors that come along. I mean, like, and also I was gonna say it was like, you know, in Chicago there's Second City, which I like to call Saturday Night Live University, SNLU.
Right.
Yeah, you know, it's you know, there's some of the great actors and actresses that came from Saturday Night Live came from Second City.
Right.
Yeah, in fact, Lisa Kudrow and Kathy Griffin and Will Ferrell, they all performed at Second City.
Oh wow! So all SNLU alums.
Well, Kathy Griffin hosted Saturday Night Live. I think she hosted it one time, and
right.
Yeah, Lisa Kudrow, of course, went on.
Guest host,
yeah, and of course, Lisa Kudrow, as we all know, went on to Friends. Mm-hmm. Well, as a matter of fact, actually, I was watching Will Ferrell's audition for Saturday Night Live, and one of the auditions was the angry dad, you know, the one who yells, "Get off the shed."
Oh yeah.
Yeah, get off the shed. My head is gonna have a meeting with your ass if you don't get off that damn shed.
Yes. and brought forward from the guy from, or either brought forward or right after the guy from that 70s show, who also said, there's going to be a foot in your ass.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, well, the first time I saw Will Ferrell do it was it was and I absolutely remember this. It was the episode where Sarah Michelle Gellar was hosting Saturday Night Live.
Oh, okay.
And he was yelling at Brandon to get on the base. I mean, get on the bag. He was like, "Get on the bag!" He's like, "What do you think? I'm stupid?" He's drinking a beer. And
right.
During the game, and he goes, "Hey, you little cry, you little crybaby! I'm gonna take a shovel and knock you out if you don't get on that damn bag." And yeah, also
a sound for the generations.
Yeah, Tim Meadows, he one of his kids was going up to him. He goes, "It's okay, son. He can't hurt you." and Michelle Gellar's character, she goes, there's a nice therapist I highly recommend. Yeah,
right. Yeah, no, I mean, brought that forward. It's still generational thing.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's like once your time at Saturday Night Live is up, it's up. I mean, like of course, I started watching Saturday Night Live, and one of my favorites was Chris Kattan, and Colin Quinn, and I thought when they left, I was like, oh man, that's wow, it's never going to be safe now that they're gone, or when Rita Ora, I think that was her name.
Oh,
no, wait.
I don't know.
Oh, or even when Will Ferrell and Tracy Morgan left, people may have thought like, oh man, this is going to be over, but no, it's still around.
Right. Well, it comes back too. I mean, it has like ups and downs. I would say that it actually was in a downward dip for a while, but then the last 2 years, 2-3 years especially, I think it's back up. And
yeah, well, I think it depends, because the thing is, it's like, it's like what, just because you're on Saturday Night Live, that means NBC should always give you a job. I mean, it doesn't work like that. It's like maybe
getting back to our topic.
Yeah, it's like maybe they'll bring you back, 1 year to to host, and because they always, you always notice they always come back, to host Saturday Night Live or to make like cameo appearances. I mean, nowadays, even people who host the Saturday Night Live, like they always come back and make cameo appearances. Like Alec Baldwin, God, he's made so many cameo appearances. It's starting to get to the point now where I'm starting to think he's become part of the cast. And
that's a good point. Yeah, so that's a loss. That's like an outlier. But mostly, you come back for like a cameo here and there.
Yeah, especially when they do like that skit, like the 4 times club or 5 times club. The time, how many times you hosted.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, they did that with Justin. I mean, last Saturday they did it with Emma Stone because it was like her 4th time hosting Saturday Night Live, and of course there were no cameo appearances by any of the old people from Saturday Night Live. Well, they had Michael Keaton do a cameo appearance in like the opening segment, but that was just about it.
Right. So yeah, I mean, it's to say that you have to know when your time's come, when it's time to move on to the next thing. Because as much as I think this actually happens a lot. I was gonna talk about this in one of my segments. I think this happens a lot. As much as you love something, you then are like, you have to go away for a while. You know what I mean?
Well, in the entertainment business, it's not so much go away, but maybe go on to do something else. We talked about, mentioned Friends, it's like, okay, should NBC always give all 6 members of Friends a job at the station just because they work there, because they all did a show there? No, it doesn't work like that.
And in fact, that's also a kind of related to that is actually a kind of good point. Is like, what is the curse? There used to be like the Seinfeld curse. There's and then I think someone tried to float the idea of the Friends curse, you know, but like I don't think that actually was a thing. But like the what is that idea? That idea is that you know, the collaboration of all these people was something so great and so unique, you know, that we'll always love it, we'll always remember it. But it doesn't mean that that one person of that collaboration can then do something at the same level.
Yeah, but they've all had some success. I mean, Matt LeBlanc had like, you know, he did the Joey spinoff. You know, lasted like 2 seasons, didn't really work out.
Joey, and I was gonna say Joey was not as good. I mean, you know, we got to face it. Joey was not as good, and people have said as much because, you know, it's not the same thing. You know,
Matthew Perry had like one show that had 2 shows on NBC, and they lasted like maybe both. I think both lasted maybe 2 or 3 seasons.
Yeah, he actually had he also had a 1 season. He had a 1 season thing called Go On.
Yeah, 1 season,
and so that one definitely didn't last. And it's like yeah, I think not that I think there's a curse or it should be that way, but I think there is a reason, you know, for kind of worrying about that. There's a reason that, you know, most of the time it's not, the spinoff is not going to be the same thing. And you know, Frasier is the only example I can think of where it actually was almost as successful on its own.
Well, yeah, well, exactly. Well, remember, Frasier is a spinoff of Cheers.
Cheers, which is what I mean. Frasier was a spinoff of Cheers, and so, you know, people do think of them separately, and Frasier did have its own run, you know, and it was actually significant. But that's the only example, I think, you know, in the entire history of entertainment.
Yeah, exactly. And Jennifer Aniston, I mean, yeah, she would make like guest appearances on like Courtney Cox's TV shows, you know, TV shows.
It was Cougar Town. Cougar Town was better. Cougar Town it's better. They had 3 or 4 seasons, was it?
Yeah. And also Scandal, the show Courtney Cox did, the one about the paparazzi.
It wasn't Scandal.
No, not Scandal. It's called something else.
I know Scandal because I know Scandal. That ain't it.
Yeah, it was called something else. I forget what it was called.
Yeah.
And Lisa Kudrow, she's done a show on Showtime, and you know, she's been successful at that and doing small movies.
Exactly. Well, and they always have some movie rules. I think the difference with Friends is that they were all, you know, big actors on their own. And I think that was actually the difference. So they can still go back to acting in movies. But, you know, that's a different thing.
Yeah, I mean, Courtney Cox had a little bit of a good movie run too. You know, she did some movies that, you know, that was sort of like hit and miss. You know, she was in the first Ace Ventura film. You know,
man, I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, and you know, but Jennifer Aniston, she really did take off as a movie star. You know, so
yeah, of course.
Yeah, so I mean, so there, you know, it's like, you know, you get up and you move on.
Exactly. And the idea of job for life is like, probably not most of the time. But that doesn't mean that you don't get to go on and do, you know, even more important work. And I guess that's what the people at Friends did. That's what people, you know, in these big sitcoms should do. I was going to mention Seinfeld. There was people definitely talked about the Seinfeld curse.
Yeah.
Or Julia Louis-Dreyfus tried to do her thing.
Yeah. Well, she finally found her niche with Veep.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say that was, you know, finally did it, but she had to do a lot of failed attempts to get there. You know?
Yeah. Also, the same goes for regular people, just regular 9-to-5 people, or, you know, people who work a blue collar job, or people who work middle class and upper middle class. Like, for example,
right. We're also just talking metaphorically as well. For all of us, there's the same thing. You know, I can be really good at this job, but, you know, and do it for a long stretch, but that doesn't mean it's the only thing I should be doing, or, you know, that I shouldn't move on. You know?
Oh yeah, exactly. Like, for example, your dad's a doctor, right?
Yes.
Now, does he get a pension when he retires?
I believe so. Though now I don't know with his own practice. You know.
Well, okay. All right. Well, okay. Well, what about your mom? What does your mom do?
She was a psych nurse, and now she's doing like medical consulting, I believe it's called.
All right. So like when she retires, is she gonna receive benefits?
No, my dad more likely.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's like I'm sure like if your mom like were to walk into like to an office and be like, after all I've done for you, and like, you should take care of me for life because, I worked for a long time, I've done good work, they're going to be like, no, sorry, it doesn't work that way. You put in your time, you've done your best, you're at the age where you can't work anymore. So now just move on with your life.
Exactly. Yeah. Though I do believe if you have actually spent the time at the same company, like they should honor that. I do believe that they're, like you're talking about the gold watch. But that doesn't really exist. I know it's not always like that. That's what I'm saying. But unfortunately, that doesn't really exist anymore. But there, I think there actually should still be something big if you put in your time at the same company the whole time, because that's a significant part of your life. That's like most of your life you've given to this company. So at that point, it's good. It's okay to ask what are they going to give back, as you.
Well, yeah, I mean, but
as you move on.
Well, yeah, exactly. But I mean, some jobs are like that, some are not. I mean, like in law enforcement, when you work for the police, we always hear about the pension and stuff like that. Because when you're working as a police officer, even when you make detective, you don't really make as much money. Your big payday really comes when you retire. You retire after so many years, and then you collect a pension, and then you basically just sit around and do nothing, and stuff like that.
You've also had a very dangerous job during that time.
Yeah, exactly. And people say like, well, these officers, they put their lives on the line for less money, and it's like, well, yeah, but this is the job they sign up for. They get the money when they make it to a pension. They're not. The city doesn't really owe them anything. It's like they know what they sign up for. If they have to get a second job, then go take a second job. And but that's how life is. It's like whether you're a police officer, whether you're a member of Saturday Night Live, or whether you're an athlete, or
just work a regular 9 to 5.
Yeah, or you work just a regular 9 to 5. It's like, look, it's when your time is up, your time is up. You don't get the gold watch, people. Maybe back in the 70s, back then they gave you the gold, they would at least give you a watch, but nowadays it's not like that anymore.
I could connect this to how we, the cost of living has actually gone up. And there, in my opinion, there actually is some other factors like that, but, whatever. the point is, yeah, it's time to know when to move on. But I think in certain circumstances, if you've given enough, you can expect something.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, but I mean, what are you gonna do? I mean, it's this is how the world works, and the only thing you can do is just your best.
It's not fair. I mean, that's the other thing. The world is actually, if you ask me, it is actually not fair. And and yeah, we don't always get back the amount that we put in, but it doesn't. I want to fight that, but you can only fight so much, and so it is actually not fair. But it's not about what's fair and about what we should get. It's about how do we work within that system and get what's best for us anyway.
Yeah, sometimes it is about what's best for the company and stuff like that.
That's not what I was saying.
No. Well, I said some keywords sometimes. Not all the time.
Okay. I was saying, how do we get what's best for us and the people we love? Despite all that.
Yeah. Also, one more thing. If you were to retire from CBS after years of working there, did they say like you get benefits from or anything, work benefits?
If I work there long enough, I do get a 401k and stuff like that. Yes. So I'm looking into it now, but I also don't know if I'm gonna spend more years, this many more years there. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. But All right. Oh, that was a good discussion.
Yep, indeed.
And now for our last one. This is one we haven't done.
Segment.
Yeah, last segment. This is one we haven't done in a real long time. Fuck, marry, kill. And
yeah, we haven't done this.
yeah, and of course,
perfect time for it actually. 420 moment.
Yeah,
yes.
and I brought this up for Fuck, marry, kill because for those of you who don't know, or for those who have been reading, there is going to be another reboot of Beverly Hills 90210. Yeah, we all know the one on the CW lasted like 5 seasons.
Right.
This one is gonna have all the original cast members come back. From what I can tell, it's pretty much a show within a show.
Okay.
It's like they're playing heightened versions of their characters, and they're trying to like bring the show back or something.
Okay.
Yeah, everyone's gonna be back except for, of course, Luke Perry, who passed away.
Yeah, that was really sad. Last thing he worked on was Riverdale. He did a very good portrayal of all the struggles that Archie's dad had to go through.
Yeah, exactly. So for Fuck, marry, kill, I picked this was a little bit of a hard one for me. Well, for you, this shouldn't be so hard. I guess for you, this is well, because you're gay. So this is for you. This will just be random. Okay. For Fuck, marry, kill, we have Jenny Garth, Tori Spelling, huh?
Jenny Garth, who is?
I don't know their characters' names.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I don't know their characters.
In 90210.
Yeah. I don't know their character's name for 90210, but.
Okay.
Anyways, we got Jenny Garth, we have Tori Spelling, and Shannon Dorothy. I'm gonna go first because it's gonna take for you for a while, given these circumstances. Let's see. For Fuck, I would absolutely pick Jenny Garth. You know, Jenny Garth, I would totally. I mean, you could also pick her to marry, but most likely I would pick her to fuck. I think I'd have a good night of sex with her.
That's the main reason.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and plus, I think she's on her second marriage now. Yeah, her second marriage now. Although I think she's getting divorced. Last time I heard, but whatever. Let's see. To marry, I would pick Tori Spelling. You know, Tori Spelling. You know, everyone gives her crap about, she's only getting these roles or whatever because of her dad. But I see how hard she works in the Lifetime movies, the Hallmark movies, and I mean, really see how she really tries to bust her ass and stuff. I mean, she was acting even before even before Beverly Hills. I mean, she was on that that cop show, the one with William Shatner and Heather Locklear.
Oh yeah. I don't remember.
Yeah, I forgot the name of that. Yeah, she had a guest appearance on that. Okay. Wait, was it Remington Steele?
Remington Steele?
Yeah.
Remington Steele. Yeah.
Wait, I think that was it.
All right. Anyway.
Okay. She also played Screech's girlfriend on on Saved by the Bell.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's where I remember her from.
Yeah. Of course, she was pretty hard to recognize, because she was wearing the nerdy glasses and shit. Okay, I gotcha. Yeah, and then you look at pictures from side to side, and you're like, whoa, wait a minute, that was Tori Spelling? Damn. Right. Yeah.
So but you'd marry her.
Oh yeah, definitely. Also, she's her and her husband are into S&M stuff. They're into porn and all that. I would know watching their one of their 100 reality shows they've done.
Okay.
Yeah. So
you think she'd keep it interesting in the bedroom during the wedding, throughout the marriage?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, keep it interesting. Kill. Of course, Shannon Dorothy. Mm-hmm. Now, of course, we all know Shannon Dorothy has battled through cancer and that sort of thing, and I'm glad she's gotten through it. I mean, because nobody should have to go through cancer. Same thing with Abby Lee Miller. And but throughout most of her career, like behind the scenes, from what I hear, she has been a complete and utter bitch. I mean, you've heard the headlines, right?
I have. I mean, barely, but I have.
Yeah, you've heard about her being a bitch, and like verbally and stuff like that. She's just been a nightmare. I mean, her and Tori's father. I mean, like they had their differences, and I think her and Tori had a mysterious falling out, and so I mean, in fact, Shannon and Jenny, they actually one time got into a fight one time.
Oh man. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, Shannon, Dorothy. Yeah. That's one I would absolutely positively kill.
Oh man. Okay. All right. So yeah, I will kill her as well.
Okay, so
this is getting a little morbid, but yes. So yeah, I will kill her as well. And I was kind of trying to figure it out in my head, but I think partly just to keep things interesting, but partly also I think I'm going to switch the other two around though.
Okay.
So I think I do agree that assuming I'm straight now, I do agree that Tori would be something in the bed, and I gotta think, just given everything I know about her, I know that that some people will blame her as if she has alcoholism or whatever, but I don't know about that. But I do think pretty wild and everything. So I would actually fuck her, and then that leaves Jenny Garth, yeah. So yeah, I don't really know as much about her, but Jenny Garth to marry, because I'm pretty sure about the other two. So.
Really, you don't know that much about Jenny Garth?
Well, I mean,
she was on What I Like About You with Amanda Bynes.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not as tuned into that stuff. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so anyway, I would marry her, which is well, I guess we'll see what happens. But I don't know. I mean, like we said, you could also fuck a lot as you're married, and that would keep it interesting. But I kind of want to really just fuck her, Tori Spelling, because I really just want to see what that's like. So
yeah, and it's funny because I remember when Luke Perry died. They talked about it on the Don, Tony, and Kevin Castle show because Luke Perry's son is actually a pro wrestler on the independent circuit.
Oh wow!
Yeah, Los Angeles independent circuit, and they actually showed a picture of Luke at a pro wrestling event. He was low key. He had the hat and the glasses. While his son was wrestling, and from what I hear, his son is actually pretty good. I mean, he could be called up to AEW or New Japan or maybe WWE in sometime in the future.
Right, exactly.
And Luke Perry was actually a huge fan of WWE. He's a big WWE fan, and always stood up for pro wrestling and stuff like that. And Don Tony, he says that if the original Beverly Hills 90210 were to air today, people would be talking about how the show represents white privilege.
Yeah, I mean, I remember having such thoughts like back in college and such. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I think it would air differently today. Is the other thing. But if it aired today the same way that it did back then I could see what they're talking about.
Well, yeah, because there weren't that many. I mean, they would have like maybe one or two. I mean, there wouldn't be that many black people in Beverly Hills, and I mean, they'd have like people would be guest stars and stuff like that, but not too many people. But they almost made it look like there were no black people at all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know they did one episode where like a black family moved to Beverly Hills and stuff like that, but But I think if it were to air today, I mean, there would be a lot of complaints about, white privilege, and stuff like that.
Exactly. But that's what, yeah. So I agree. But that's why I think that it would be different, today. They would have more black families there, or more black and Latino families, perhaps there, or an interracial couple, something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Also another show that I think that would get a lot of complaints about white privilege. Well, even though these kids weren't really rich, Dawson's Creek. Yeah, it would definitely be a white privilege show. I think I watched its last 3 or 4 seasons.
Right. And since you brought it up, this is actually an interesting time to ask. What do you think about the whole criticism as well that Seinfeld, you would think from Seinfeld there was no black people in the city.
Well, no, not necessarily. I mean, there were some black people there. They showed black people. They had black people on the show. It's
Right.
just.
I mean, how big a role were they?
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't play that big of a role, but I don't think it was on purpose though. But
yeah.
I didn't think they were looking at race or anything like that. I mean, I think the one.
Yeah, I do understand there's a different, it was a different time and stuff, and like. I think especially something like taking place in Beverly Hills, that's probably unseen bias that back then they were like, well, not as many people would live there in real life. So why?
Yeah, Desperate Housewives, that would also be seen as white privilege, even though they had the one Latina and the one black family that lived in the neighborhood, even though they had a crazy son and stuff. I do
remember, thinking stuff like that when I watched it. But I don't know. I mean, I think they did do better, with race overall, but on that, but yeah, you're right. It was a bit too. I think they did better as the seasons went on. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, actually, I watched a little bit of Desperate Housewives, not a whole lot, but because I had like a crush on Eva Longoria, of course, and then Terry Hatcher, of course, going back to my days of watching Lois and Clark and The New Adventures of Superman.
Oh,
yeah,
didn't even know that. Yeah.
By the way, what do you think of Lori Loughlin and Felicity Huffman going to jail?
Oh yeah, they both are.
Yeah, I think Felicity, she's getting like 5 or 10 years.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, I saw the headline that Felicity confessed. She pleaded guilty. So it's like, yeah, that's like it. And we talked about this last time. That it can sometimes be, we might disagree, but it can sometimes be people that you like. You know what I mean? And people that you think you like, that are actors. They're different. They're not actually. We don't actually know the full extent of who they are, and we only think we do. And so, people that we think we like, can do these things. And
Mariska Hargitay is not Olivia Benson. I mean, I'm pretty sure she is pretty. I mean, I'm sure she's a badass in some ways, but not to the point where she'll she'll get in a shootout with somebody.
Oh, so you're talking about characters now? Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true. And also, speaking of Desperate Housewives, yeah, Felicity Huffman is also not Lynette Scavo. Yeah, it's not Lynette Scavo either, because Lynette would never ever do something like this.
Yeah, exactly. Of course. I think her most memorable scene was the one with when they had Marlee Matlin on. Yeah. I liked how Marlee Matlin was doing the signing and stuff, saying "I don't need to be rescued," and then she turned around and then she just in her own voice just went, "Bitch."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I didn't need to be rescued. She's just signing that, and someone is but then she just says, "Bitch."
Oh yeah.
Yep, indeed. All right. We gotta start to rain,
so
we gotta wrap this up.
Yep. So click subscribe and
comment and whatever else. Tune in on Facebook as well. We'll have the Beantown Beatdown.
Yep. We're gonna be back in a few weeks. Gabe's gonna go on a little vacation.
Yep.
And we'll announce when we'll be back. And also the Beer and Brawl show. Last night's episode is up to 143 views.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So hopefully
keep it up.
Yeah. So let's get it back to 300 because last week's episode was rounded out to 248.
All right. So from Beantown to your town. This is the Beantown Beatdown.
Matthew Barnes.
Gabe Shamus.
Happy 420.
Woo!
End stream.
I know. This is so going to be a part of it.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck, we gotta